good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where you already know we get it in, right? But before we get it in today, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I'm kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support I'm getting, man. We're going up on this channel, and it's all because of you, and I'm humbled. Thank you, guys. So the word on the curb is Mr. Masterson got plaqueated, jumped on, smashed, choked out by the BBCs, right? The Brothers by Choice. Now, the first time I ever heard the word the BBCs, I was thinking something different. Masterson was in there like, oh no, the BBCs want to get me? He was thinking about the big black, come on now, right? That, ooh-wee, right? But really, in all reality, there is a gang called the BBCs on the SNY yards, the Brothers by Choice. Now, the first time I heard of this gang, man, I had a homeboy who was a Wood that had paroled active out of a prison. And he started telling me about different types of Woods and different type of skinheads. And you know, I'm always willing to educate myself. I'm always like, okay, what's going on here, bro? You know, who's this and what's what? So that way I'm aware of exactly who people are. And he told me about a gang that was started on the SNY yards called Brothers by Choice, which is comprised of ex-skinheads, ex-Woods, basically dropouts that have come together, and they started this gang called Brothers by Choice. Now, they have different symbols and a lot of different things that distinguish themselves from actual Woods, right? Now, you would ask yourself, why would they do this? Why would they form another gang? Hey, that's the million-dollar question. A lot of people always have that question. Why would these people go to the SNY yards, the sensitive need yards, basically protective custody, and get involved in different types of gangs or new cliques or new clubhouses? And the question is a great question. And the answer is this: to each man their own. Everybody sees doing time differently. Some people can't just do their time alone. They want to do it with a gaggle or a gang. And some people get manipulated into being something they really truly aren't. And then some just want to do that. You know, just because they leave the active general population yard for whatever reason, or they were removed, whether it be justified or unjustified, they feel some type of way. They go over to different yards, start hanging around with a group of individuals who are on the same page of like-mindedness. And the next thing you know, they start getting tattoos and they become a part of a group. Now, just like any other yard, whether it be active or non-active in the state of California, when you start to hang around with gangs or groups and you get identified, you can get validated. Okay, they're not going to validate you from being from one of the big four, meaning the biggest four prison organizations in the world, of course, but you can become involved in these groups and you can be validated as a STG, basically a security threat group member or a disruptive group member, right? Because these guys are out there doing their thing. Now, Brothers by Choice, some of the tattoos that they do get on their bodies are stars. They like to get a lot of stars for some reason tattooed on them. I think that derives from an old gang that was also one of the first dropout gangs that kind of converted into Brothers by Choice, which was called the All-Stars. Okay, they had a group called the All-Stars. And a lot of these white groups, man, these ex-skinheads, they get a lot of their namesakes or a lot of their, whatever you want to call it, man, from bands, from groups, from rock and roll groups, from whatever. They take a lot of that and apply it to whatever group they're from. So anyways, the Brothers by Choice came together, I would say, maybe in the early 2000s from what I heard. And albeit they don't have the numbers, there is a lot of them in certain pockets and places on these SNY yards, right? And just like any other prison gang or any other group, man, they're going to eradicate the chomos, the rapos, who they feel is not worthy. Now, I can't tell you the rules to get into that particular organization or group. But from what I hear and what I heard from the homeboy, you know, you have to have good paperwork. Good paperwork meaning that you could never have told on anyone from the streets. You could never have, you know, have bad cases, be a chomo, have an R on your jacket like Danny Masterson. Nothing like that, right? So basically, you have to be what they consider a solid individual who just happened to go to the protective custody yard for whatever reason. Now, ain't that an oxymoron? You would think once you're on the SNY yards or the protective custody yards, it's just not easy to go there. There's fucking rules and things that you have to do to get there. But see, that was the past. In the past, you were a validated gang member. You were considered a validated gang dropout. You would have to go through a debriefing process and a lot of different things you would have to do to get to said yards, to get to these SNY yards. You had to prove yourself, go through a lot of different programs and processes to actually committees and stuff to be labeled or tagged in SNY, have that chrono in your jacket and go there. They didn't just send anyone there. Okay, took a lot to become a protective custody inmate. Now, in the 2000s, when it started to boom and they were sending people were dropping out by the thousands, right? What would happen was they stopped doing that, the debriefing process and all that. They still did that for validated gang members. But for the most part, man, if you just got locked it up off the bus, if you just decided, they would give you an option. They would tell you when they pulled up to Corcoran or they pulled up to whatever prison they pulled up to, do you want to go active or non-active? This is your last choice. If you have any dirt or any fucking qualms about being right here, homie, this is your last chance. I don't know how many prisons I pulled up to where every time the COs would get on the bus and they would tell you, hey, if you're fucking going to be active, go right. If you're going to be non-active, go left. They started to give people choices. And best believe a lot of people would look around, make sure that their homies weren't looking and be like, sauce. They'd be bounce over there to the left, right? So a lot of people started dropping out in record numbers. It got to the point in California where there actually was more or is more non-active or dropout gang members than there are active or general population gang members, just the way it did. And if they're giving you an option to take an easier route to fucking do easy time, where most people just want to do their time and go home, they don't want to be with the lifers. They don't want to be, stabbing people and having to function under certain politics. What do you think they're going to do? If given the option, most people, especially youngsters that didn't know any better, that weren't laced up or educated, are going to bounce to these SNY yards. Now, in doing so, what the CDC never foreseen, but what other people foreseen, was it was going to start getting rowdy, wicked, and very treacherous over there. And that's exactly what happened. These child molesters and these fucking rapos and all these weirdos that had these weird cases that belonged segregated, belonged on these SNY yards, like Danny Masterson, we're not going to be comfortable anymore. We're not going to be resting and easy and not having to worry, because now you had a lot of dropout gang members that were going to go over there and form new gangs and start to extort, punk, beat up, eradicate all these weirdos. Because no matter what, whether they locked it up off the bus, they decided the gang life wasn't for them, and then they went over there and they started to involve themselves in different gangs. And you can think how you want to think about it. I have my opinion. Everyone does, right? The fact remains that these guys were not going to function or program around weirdos. See, a lot of people get the misconception and they throw out there, oh man, SY is just full of weirdos and punks for a little bit until these vatos get there and start cleaning house. Now, in Danny Masterson's case, what's being put out there is that these BBCs, these Brothers by Choice, which is basically a dropout gang of woods and skinheads, ran up on him at Corcoran Prison. Now, we know that he has moved to CMC East. This is a fact. He's in a single-man cell in CMC East with a key to his cell. And it's, from what I hear, it's pretty comfortable. It's the type of yard that I guess he needs to be on if he wants to, live. Will there be issues and problems there? I said it yesterday. Probably every man has issues and problems in prison. No one's just going to skate by. Now, of course, he does have millions. He does have money. So maybe in a place like this, not will it buy him protection, but it could buy him time, right? He could tell people, hey, look, I don't want no issue. Here's some canteen, whoop-de-whoop, wop-de-wop. Now, again, I also have another theory on what I believe is saving him, and we're going to get to that, right? But as far as him being in Corcoran and getting transferred out to CMC over the weekend, which I've never seen happen before in my life. I've never seen anyone get transferred over the weekend. If they do an emergency transfer, that has to be verified, certified, and signed by Sacramento, California, which is the state capital. See, any time there's movement or transfers, it's always signed by Sacramento. You can't just transfer someone. They need to be aware, because there's count times. They need to be aware of every single inmate that has a CDC number in the state of California, where they're at all times. One guy just is not special, gets jumped on or beat up, and he's going to get transferred immediately. It doesn't work that way. They would have placed him in the hole pending transfer until they could have got a signature from whoever they need to get it from, whoever runs the Department of Corrections in Sacramento, and then it would have came back maybe about a week to 2 weeks later, and then they would have facilitated that transfer to CMC. So for this guy to get transferred on the same day that his 10 days are up in quarantine, basically, Just makes no sense. It was either pre-planned and they had already signed the executive order to send him that way, right? Or, right, there's some special fucking entity behind the scenes pulling in favors. I like to think door number B is probably more feasible, right? So, the word is, I watch JD Delay. For those of you that don't watch, make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's a good dude, solid dude, man. We've had one conversation via text behind the scenes, man, where we're of like-mindedness, right? We agree on a lot of things. And I could agree to disagree on certain things, and it's not meant as a diss or disrespect because I like his content. I believe that he tries to do the most. I believe he puts out there the best content he possibly can, and I got to respect it, right? But one thing that I do differ on in this situation was he said that the brothers by choice, or what he's saying is that they ran up on and they beat up Danny Masterson fucking, oh, shucks, right? They fucked him up and they put the big BBC into him, right? That's not what I heard. Okay, I heard different. I heard that he just was transferred just out of nowhere. I also talked to some people that are on the inside, man, just like anyone else, any other content creator that does his homework. And I heard no such thing. The BBCs did not even attempt to run up on him. Now, whether I'm wrong and he's right or he's right, wrong and I'm right, it's not a question. This is just what I heard. I'm putting out there what I heard, right? That there was no altercation whatsoever, that this guy was just moved because he was moved. Now, it sounds good, and this is, and I'm not going to deny it, man. The BBC, the Brothers by Choice, would run up on him. I had forgot all about that group. It's been so long, man. That I had forgot about all these different SNY groups. You hear about the GBGs, the Gay Boy Gangsters and the 2-5ers and the Northern Riders and whatever group that you think is over there, man, you hear about because they're fucking constantly in the news for fucking whether it's killing people or whatever they're doing. But you don't hear about groups like the All-Stars, the Independent Riders, the BBCs, and several other fucking gangs that they have going on over there because they have a lot, right? The SNY Yard is comprised of a lot of people with a lot of different philosophies in gang life. But the BBCs are probably the largest and biggest threat when it comes to dropout white boys that have came together in a gaggle of goose to gander, right? So they definitely are about their business. I'm not going to sit there and say, these white guys, these woods that choose to fucking join a gang, not because they have to, but because they opt to, they're pretty dangerous. See, when you're a white guy, what's up, brother? And you like coffee and you go to the mainline general population, whether you were into hip hop on the streets or you were really gangbanging out, or you were really swastika'd out, right? You have no choice. You're going to go in there and function as a white man doing white things, and that's mighty white of you, brother. That's just the way it is in California. Your race comes before anything. Comes before your family, comes before your friends, and it even comes before your foes, right? It's just a white thing, and that's how they function and do their thing. Okay, but there's a lot of guys that were never involved. They like them some Matt Gray, brother, right? And they don't want to be involved in the racial aspect of things. So a lot of them fall off. A lot of them get told to do pegadas or stab their own homeboys because their homeboy's not functioning correctly under the guidance of the white man, right? And they don't like it. So they end up on these SNY yards for whatever reason. Now, there are guys over there for telling. There are guys for over there, like, brother, the drug deal went bad. It wasn't my fault. I wanted coffee, not meth, right? So there's a lot of different things that go on behind the scenes that will dictate their program and how they end up on the SNY yards. But when you have a whole bunch of guys that didn't want to really be involved in that, but are given another option, yes, they love the canalismo. They love the righteousness of being called a brother and having some good friends. So that's why they join gangs like the BBC, the Brothers by Choice. That's a cold handle because nowadays they don't flip your guys' name. I would change that because BBC means something totally different. There's a brother in there like, show does, bro, right? Exactly. When Danny Masterson, they said the BBCs are coming to get you. That Balto took off running ASAP. Hell no, right? Because he remembers the one time he did a movie with Tiny Lister. It was called No Holds Barred. Or was that Hogan, brother? I don't know. Either way, man, BBC has a whole different meaning in prison than it should. So now you have, the rumors going out there. And I say rumors because I don't know it to be a fact that the BBCs are the reason why they facilitated the movement of the transfer Danny Masterson because he got smashed by the BBCs. That's not the way it works. Okay, I'm here to tell you guys that is not the way it works at all. If someone gets jumped on, I don't give a fuck who it is. If Obama goes in there and gets jumped on, that's not the way it works. This is how it would have went down. If the BBCs, the Brothers by Choice, which is a dropout gang, ran up on Danny Masterson when he hit the yard in Corcoran, right? And jumped him beat him up. I could see that happening. No doubt about it. Them type of guys, maybe they wanted some money. Maybe they were trying to extort him. Maybe, just maybe, they just were like, fuck this fucking Cheeto, this weirdo, right? We're going to get rid of him. You know, I could see them as white men handling white business. It's just, you know, some people, they like to talk all that shit about the general population. I don't like that racial stuff. I don't like the politics. Then they go on SNY and do the same damn thing. It makes no sense to me, but I'm just telling you, it's the way it fucking is, right? So anyways, these guys could have felt some type of way, like we're going to get to him before anyone else could get to him. They're over here, he's over here thinking about the GBGs with the shit on swivel, and brother, we got something even bigger for him, man, white, right? So that, bam, they handle their business. Let's just say it happened. They're not going to immediately take this guy from fucking, you know, to wash his face off because of all the sangre and throw him in a van and take him to CMC. No, it takes more than that. It takes paperwork. Like I said, it takes a fucking emergency signing. You know, they're not going to all sit down because of this guy. I believe, this is what I believe. Two things. Either this was already pre-planned to send him to CMC. And I think a lot of the content that is being created on YouTube, myself as well, JD Delay, Dubs, all these different individuals who are doing content, you know, following the trail of Danny Masterson because it is popular right now. Everybody wants to see it. I believe this could have facilitated some thoughts in the mind of the administration. Look, man, this guy is being popularized. It just continues to go on and on. We need to send him somewhere where it's safer for him. And I believe that that went into motion. And that is the only way they could facilitate that transfer to CMC East, because I'm telling you right now, and no, he's not level 1. He's on a level 4/3 yard. I'm telling you right now, there's no way they can just transfer you. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't matter how much money or what fucking religion is behind you, or if some fucking dude's wearing an owl mask fucking doing this is fucking standing behind you. None of that shit matters. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is you are now a part of the California Department of Corrections. Your ass belongs to them and the BBC, Danny Masterson. And that's exactly how it goes down. So if anything, if say he did get jumped by these guys, he would have went into administrative segregation pending transfer. And then in about a week or 2 weeks, we would be talking about what happened. By the time we found out he got his ass whooped by a couple of white men, brother, righteously, then he would have been in CMC. It just doesn't work that way. We don't find out he's transferred first and then why later. That's not how it works, okay? So whether he got ran up on the BBC, whether that's a myth or just being told out there for views, it seems like it could happen. But did it happen? From the person I talked to who's on the inside, he said, I didn't see no paperwork or nothing like that happen. You know, they just he goes, I was surprised they transferred him, which leads me to the second fucking thing I was going to say, which Dubs put out there. I got to respect him for it. And I kind of spoke on it yesterday, was maybe, just maybe, he was transferred to the PHU and he never left Corcoran. And all these people are saying that he went to CMC because that's what the administration put out there. Because one thing about the PHU is when they transfer you to that motherfucker, nobody knows. Not the cops, not even the big black, come on now, right? Nobody knows you're over there. You just go, right? So that's quite possible. Because again, man, I know about being transpacked and transferred and whatever from a different facility, and it just doesn't work overnight. Okay, that's the reason why you go to reception and you sit there for a while. They have to find you a bed. You have to go through all the medical clearances that you have to go through, right? They have to figure out your points. You have to talk to a counselor. They have to figure out, you know what I'm saying, the zoos and the whams, exactly where they're going to send you. Okay, and then after a few months, you're transferred to your general population or your SNY prison, wherever, you know, is more comfortable or they feel fits your criterion. That's how it goes. They're not just going to fucking, it's just not an overnight thing. You come here, stay overnight, and you're gone. That's not how it works, right? So for him to be transferred like that, and then you're not going to get transferred just because you get beat up. There's guys that get jumped on by the BBCs every day. There's guys that get jumped on by the real BBC every day, right? So they're not going to just transfer you because you got beat up or because they fear for your safety. Do you understand? They don't care. There's a lot of people, oh, they just don't want to do the paperwork. They're going to do paperwork anyways. If nothing cracks with Danny Masterson, if Danny Masterson goes away tomorrow, there's going to be more people getting jumped, more paperwork tomorrow. Yes, no cop wants to do extra paperwork and do overtime if he doesn't have to. But he's aware that if it cracks, it cracks. This guy is getting no favoritism unless there's some entity behind the scenes with puppet strings pulling it like Pinocchio. Then, quite possibly, he might just get some special attention. And I think that's what happened here. I think it was prearranged. They were going to shoot him to CMC because of his case factors and because, man, you know, his lawyer got in their earlobes and they were scared. And the powers that may be behind him, man, you know, made sure that the palms were greasy, right? And that's it. Easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. And then he's gone. As far as his getting jumped, I talked to someone and they said, no, he did not get jumped. The Brothers by Choice did not run up on him. Now, people say are able to facilitate some type of write-up 115 to show that this actually happened. Cool. But still, even with that, they're not going to fucking move him because these guys jumped him. They don't do that, bro. You don't get jumped and moved. You get moved from yard to yard. And even if you do get moved, it's going to take a few weeks, man. Ask anyone who's ever been to prison in real life, and they'll tell you. That's why I was tripping when I seen JD delay stuff, because I'm like, come on, brother. He knows better that transfers just don't happen like that. I don't think he's ever done time in the state of California, and I respect that, you know. And I know he's done a lot of time, man, and he's a real one. So I know he would know like about transferring. But in the state of California, they don't do that. They don't just fucking transfer you here and there like every day. I mean, they transfer you, but it takes a while and someone has to sign off. So, nah I call it bullshit. Yes, I do. Anyways, with that being said, man, I kind of wanted to give you guys the rundown on who this notorious group is, the BBCs, that attacked, allegedly, Danny Masterson. And if it really went down, it seems like every day there's more and more rumors. Now he's becoming attacked and beat up. When I bet you 9 times out of 10, the fact remains he's just there right now in CMC East about to go to chow. That's it. That's it. He's going to go get his apple. His apple and bananas, right? He's going to go get his apple and his peanut butter. Kick back in his cell, fucking some dude's going to come up to his cell, grabbing his chorra, talking about, hey, bro, what's happening? Right? And he's going to be like, I don't do that. He's like, I know you don't, but you will. And that's it. That's what his life entails. So with that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose, get everything that you want coming. Again, if there's some content put out that he was jumped and that's the reason why he was moved, the person I talked to who was way deep on the inside said, nah, that never happened, man. Again, I'm not calling anyone a liar or dispelling, because anything can pop, right? Not everyone has the same information, but from what I hear, he just was moved out of nowhere. One never knows, does one. With that being said, move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming, and remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive to struggle, the struggle to strive. I'm going to bring you guys the best possible content I can, the realest and the illest. I'm not going to sugarcoat or add preservatives, man. It is what it was, and it was what it is. If I have something to say, I'm going to say it. And if I know something to be not true, I'm not going to disrespect the person that's putting it out there, but I will call bullshit when I see it. And as far as fucking, you know, with JD Delay and other content creators, they're putting out the best possible content they can to keep you guys aware of what's happening. I've had a lot of people like, fuck that puto, let him do his fucking thing, Holmes. You know what I mean? And hey, as long as you like to look at it and watch it, I'm going to provide it. And that's it. That's just the way it goes. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. Can't we all just get along, BBCs? I mean, I'm good. It's him, that you want. Not me. Bang, bang.